Greetings to all of you. I am so delighted to commence my classes for the ISC batch at Eternal Bliss Reading Circle. And I am beginning with the poem Dover Beach by Matthew Arnold. Dover Beach is one of the best poems written by Matthew Arnold. Dover Beach was written in 1867. Now, whenever you read a poem, the date of writing is very important because it gives you an idea of the contemporary time when the poem was written. It also gives you a preliminary idea of the background of writing of the poem. Now, Dover Beach has been written in the form of a dramatic monologue, where the speaker speaks all the words in presence of a company. Here the speaker is seated with his beloved in a room in a house at Dover. And Dover is a beach town in England. Now the speaker and his beloved, they are seated in the room at night time and they look outside the window which is facing the sea. They look at the beauty of the sea, the beauty of the moonlit night, and hear the sounds made by the sea. The poem begins in the form of a love poem, and the first 14 lines are almost written in the form of a sonnet. Only in the 14th line do we get the serious message of the poem, which is through the words spoken by the speaker, which says the eternal note of sadness in. Through this dramatic monologue, the poet expresses his frustration and hopelessness of the modern chaotic world which has been created because of decline of faith in religion. Modern scientific discovery and inquiry had made man to question the existence of God. People are gradually losing faith in religion. Religion fails to survive at the face of uprising tide of scientific discovery. And for the poet, it is a matter of despair and hopelessness. Now I shall give you a detailed analysis of the poem stanza-wise. The sea is calm tonight, the tide is full, the moon lies fair. So it is a moonlit night and it is the time of high tide upon the straits. So it is reference to the Dover Strait where the speaker and his beloved are in. So from their room, through the window, they could see the French coast on one side and the shore of England on the other. So when the speaker looks towards the coast of France, he could see the lights go off. So at that time, he looked towards the shore of England. And there he could see the cliffs of England stand. Cliffs are steep rocks on seashore. And here the cliffs of England stand tall. Come to the window, sweet is the night here. So he invites his beloved to come to the window and enjoy the beauty of the night, where the sea meets the moon-blanched land, and is asking his beloved to look at the seashore, which is moon-blanched, meaning whitened by moonlight. Listen, you hear the grating roar. So grating roar is the unpleasant, irritating sound created by the pebbles. The sea waves are rushing on the pebbles again and again. And again the pebbles hit by the sea waves create this grating roar, which is unpleasant and irritating to the ear. And it is this monotonous sound of the pebbles is creating bitterness, melancholy, and despair for the speaker. And he also refers to the sound of the pebbles as tremulous, cadence, slow. Cadence is musical sound, but here the cadence produced by the pebbles are tremulous, meaning shaking, trembling, which has an effect of destruction. And the speaker is of opinion that this grating sound, this tremulous cadence, the monotonous sound of the pebbles are the eternal note of sadness. As if the sounds produced by the pebbles, the sound produced by the sea is causing eternal note of sadness to his mind. And then in the second stanza, we get Sophocles long ago had it on the Aegean. Now the speaker is telling Sophocles, the Greek writer of tragedy, when he was at the Aegean Sea, which connected Greece with Asia Minor, looking at the Aegean Sea, Sophocles, he had a feeling of sorrow and despair. He could feel the sufferings and misery human beings were going through. And he noted down all the sufferings and misery in his tragedy. So Sophocles spoke of human misery by feeling those human misery, looking at the Aegean Sea. Similarly, here at the Dover Strait, which connected the English Channel with the North Sea, the speaker is having similar feeling like Sophocles. He is also thinking of the human sufferings and human misery. So he said, find also in the sound that is the sound of the sea, a thought hearing it by this distant North Sea. So being in the Dover Strait, the speaker is having similar feelings like Sophocles, the writer of tragedy, who wrote a number of Greek tragedy and expressed of human sufferings and misery through his writings. The third stanza begins with the words, the sea of faith. Now, the sea of faith is a metaphor for religious faith. The time when Dover Beach was written by Matthew Arnold, religion was gradually losing its importance because of the emerging scientific discoveries and modern inventions. People were gradually getting attracted towards modernity, and they were losing their faith on religion. So at that point, Matthew Arnold was very much concerned about the future generation who will be devoid of any faith, because he believed that a faithless society of people is bound to face sadness and dejection at every step, because underneath religion lied the mystery of mankind. Like, people used to get empowered by religion, people used to get protected from the hazards of life and with the grace of God. But when now people is going away from religion, then this mass of people totally devoid of religious faith is bound to face sufferings and misery. Now, in words of the poem, we see the sea of faith was once too full. Like in the second line of the first stanza, we got the words, the tide is full. So that night, at that moonlit night, the tide was full. Similarly, once religion was also full. People fully believed in religion. People were deeply bound with religion. And round our shore, like the folds of bright girdle fern, like the way a girdle is worn around the waist. Similarly, religion was practiced by people all over the world, and like a girdle, religion was tightly connected or deeply connected with people. But now I only hear its melancholy, long withdrawing roar. But now the steps of faith are retreating. And now what is left behind is the vast ages, drear and naked singles of the world. So when the religious faith is gone, what is left in this artificial world is a dreadful picture of nakedness which lie underneath the colorful modern world. Like the modern world looks colorful from outside. But if the light of the heart, which was provided by means of religion, so if the light is taken away from the people's heart, then the population which is left behind is bound to face sadness, misery, and dejection. Now the fourth stanza begins with the words, Allah, let us be true to one another. So Matthew Arnold, like he is of opinion that when the world is losing its faith in religion, then at that time what people can do is to be true with one another and establish loving bond with each other. For the world which seems to lie before us are like lands of dreams. Now, lands of dreams means dreams are pleasant to look at. Dreams are pleasant to fancy. But dreams cannot be really led by people. So similarly, people in future will be in an imaginary world where they imagine everything to be very beautiful, but that is not our real world to be lived. Now I want to compare this with the present situation we are facing now. Like in our present life, we see the world which is portrayed by the media through advertisements or through other forms, like everything looks so beautiful, like everything is marvelous, everything is like a dream, and people like they are very much attracted to those things, and they too also want to achieve those in their life. But the life which is portrayed by media is totally imaginary. It is elusive. Similarly, Matthew Arnold, he could foresee the situation the future generation would go through. Like this poem is written in 1867, and at that time only he said that the world will be a land of dreams, which we see at this time being in the 21st century. So various, so beautiful, so new. So everything which is portrayed by the media, like various, all the modern things, all the modern gadgets that we see, all are marvelous, all are new, has really neither joy nor love nor light. But actually, there is no delight, no joy, and nothing marvelous about these things. Like these are imaginary talks. This makes people dream. This make people reside in an imaginary world. But that imaginary fantasy world can never be achieved by people in real life. Nor certitude, nor peace, nor help for pain. Now, nor certitude means there is no certainty of what is going to happen. The people, the future citizen, will be leading a life where there will be no peace, nor help for pain. And when people suffer at that time, as because they are abandoning religion, then there would be no God, even no God to help them. Actually, previously, when people suffered from misery, they had absolute faith on God, and God decided in their heart and provided them with a way out. But this mass of people who are totally devoid of religious faith, what would happen to them when they are in pain? So, nor help for pain. And we are here as on a darkling plane. And so the world will be a dark place to live in, swept with confused alarms of struggle and flight. And the world will move so fast, people will be so much involved in this artificial world, full of machinery, full of inventions, full of scientific gadgets, that people will be confused. They will be confused with alarms. They will always be running after something, but the type of life that they would lead cannot give them true happiness. Alarms of struggle and fight, where ignorant armies clash by night. Now this is a comparison where the common people have been compared with armies, meaning soldiers, like the way soldiers fight in the war at night at difficult time. But the soldiers are not aware like why they are fighting. Like if you refer to the poem John Brown in your syllabus, like in the real world situation, when the soldier fights a war, like it is not any glory, it can cause only misery. The soldier fight for his country. Even you can refer to the gift of India. Like the soldier fight for the country, they perform their duty, but they do not know the end, like why they are doing it, what is the purpose of fighting the war. For soldier, their duty is only to struggle and fight without knowing the real purpose of the fight. Similarly, these faithless people devoid of God, these people will be leading a life full of struggle, full of emergency, which will make them lead a life like the life of soldiers who will struggle and fight, but being unaware of what the struggle is for. And this harsh reality, the harsh life that the future citizens are going to face cannot bring in any joy. It is, as it is said, neither joy nor love nor light, nor certitude nor peace, nor helpful, nor help for pain. Only what will be left behind is misery, sadness, and dejection. So here, Matthew Arnold ends the poem with pessimism, that the modern world devoid of God is of no goodness for the people. When people are moving away from nature, like when they lose their capability to appreciate the beauty of nature, when they lose the secrets and mystery of life which are provided in the religion. So when people move away from their own originality, then the society that they are left with and the kind of life they lead cannot bring any happiness or joy or love to them. They will be like soldiers fighting in the war at night time in darkness, and like fulfilling all the needs of the time, but without enjoying life and without knowing the true purpose of life. Now at the end, I would like to add few critical comments. Now when we began the poem, we found the description of nature through visual images. We found the sea is calm, sweet is the night air, the moon blanched land. So all this speaks about beauty of nature. Now one thing you have to notice, that when nature is described, we find it so serene and pleasant, like the moonlit night and the sweet night air, the sea is calm. This all speaks of human emotions, and there is lot of romanticism attached with this. So when we speak of nature, human being is naturally inclined to the romantic way of life, the beautiful way of life. But as the poem progresses and as we move towards the end of the poem, we find that human beings have been compared with soldiers fighting in a battle at night time. The passage of the poem also gives us about the stages of human development, what happens to man when they move away from nature and they progress towards a world which is mechanical and full of machinery. The poem is again replete with symbolism. Like by the words, the light gleams and is gone, the decline in religious faith has been referred. Again, when the lights of the French coast go off, the cliffs of England stand still. Now, cliffs are steep rocks and they are hard and they are barren and lifeless. Now, one thing I would like to point out, that all the scientific inventions and modern discoveries had their origin in England. England is responsible for introducing machinery to the world. And when man leads a mechanical way of life, they fight like ignorant armies clash by night. Now, night is the time for taking rest and for sleep. But in the mechanical world, common people are supposed to work like armies even during the night time. That is, their natural phenomena, the natural cycle of life is also changing in this artificial world. So, with this, we come to the end of this class. I hope you understood the point well. Please like, share and subscribe my channel. And remember to press the bell icon for further notification. Thank you and God bless.